We are officially 1 day away from the 2025 NBA draft, and there is plenty of 76ers draft news and draft rumors to get to. Everything you need to know to be ready for the Sixers when they are on the clock at number 3 overall. And speaking of the 2025 NBA draft, we will be live right here on 76ers Now for both days, both rounds. Starting on Wednesday, we'll be live an hour before the draft starts at 8 p.m. Eastern. So we'll be live at 7 p.m. Eastern for a full preview of the 76ers and what they could do at number 3. So be sure to subscribe and turn those notifications and join us for our live draft coverage. Welcome into 76ers Now. I am Jake Chipper. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's show. And as I mentioned off the top, we're a day away from the 2025 NBA draft, and there is so much to get to as we're getting a ton of intel from different NBA insiders on what the Sixers could do at number 3, because the draft really does start with Philadelphia and that 3rd overall pick. So let's get started with VJ Edgecombe, who, as of right now, and really for the past couple weeks at this point, has been the favorite for Philadelphia at number 3, and that appears to be the case as we head into draft day tomorrow. Here is ESPN draft expert Jonathan Givony with the latest. If the draft were tonight, I believe VJ Edgecombe would be the pick at number 3 for the Sixers. That is the intel we are receiving at this moment. Ace Bailey is really sending signals he does not want to be there in Philadelphia. So the more and the closer and closer, I should say, we get to draft day, the more likely it seems that VJ is going to be the pick. And look, if VJ is the pick, I'll be happy with it. I've been an Ace Bailey guy, but with everything that's been going on with him really not wanting to be on the Sixers, it seems VJ does look like he's going to be the pick. And look, with his athleticism, his defensive ability, he really can fit right in to this 76ers lineup, and he has an improving offensive game, an improving jump shot, and an improving handle. Still areas he needs to get better in, of course, but I think he can make an impact on day one because of how good he can be defensively. And Jonathan Wasserman of Bleacher Report kind of echoing that sentiment for the 76ers, saying that rival teams think the Sixers could be more drawn to Edgecombe's athleticism and superior analytics, as well as his encouraging shooting development. And we know Daryl Morey loves his analytics. Now, VJ Edgecombe did visit the 76ers very recently. I believe his only pre-draft visit at this moment. Also declined to work out with Charlotte, according to some reports. And we got some intel on the visit. It's not great. A little bit of a mixed bag. Here's what ESPN reported on that visit for VJ with Philadelphia. Sources say Edgecombe appeared nervous during his private workout in Philadelphia and did not shoot the ball particularly well in an unnatural one-on-one setting. He made a strong impression in interviews and meetings, though, something the front office values more highly. Now, of course, it's just one workout, so seeing him being a little bit nervous, not shooting the ball well, not totally an indicator of his skill set. You can also look at the entire body of work from this past season in college, but it's a little worrisome that you bring him in and he's a little nervous and he's not shooting the ball well, especially because the jump shot for him is one of the biggest concerns and one of the biggest swing skills, and he wasn't able to show that off. But they did mention that Sixers and the front office really liked him as a person. He nailed the interviews, and that is really probably more what the Sixers are looking for when they're bringing someone in. They can improve on someone's other skills, but how are you as a cultural fit? Can you fit in this locker room? That can end up being one of the big reasons they go VJ Edgecombe over Ace Bailey. But speaking of Ace Bailey, let's get the latest on him, because as we know, for a while Ace Bailey was a favorite at number 3 to Philadelphia. But what he's been doing in this pre-draft process, him and his representation, it's really confused a lot of us, and it's confused a lot of NBA front offices and other NBA agents as well. So Ace, if you have not heard, has declined workouts with several teams, including the Sixers, the Charlotte Hornets, and the Utah Jazz. According to reports, he seems to prefer one of Washington, New Orleans, or Brooklyn. According to all accounts, Those are the 3 destinations that Ace Bailey and his team want him to go to. And according to these reports, he wants to be somewhere where he can be the guy right away. He can get a ton of minutes and a ton of shots. And those are the 3 destinations where he feels comfortable playing in and able to get a big second contract. That's where his camp has his focus right now, is landing a big second contract as opposed to getting somewhere where he can fit and truly develop his game over time. Also of note, his camp reportedly feels confident that they're in a good position heading into the draft, which has led some NBA execs to believe that maybe he's received a draft promise from somebody in the draft, like in New Orleans or Brooklyn. Now, stay with me for a second, because it has been reported that the Sixers have not completely ruled out Ace Bailey as of this moment. Now, why would that be? With everything going on and Ace Bailey continuing to say that he does not want the Sixers to take him, why has he not been ruled out for Philadelphia? And why would Ace continue, it seems like every single day now, to keep sending signals to Philadelphia that he doesn't want to go there? Maybe, and just maybe, the Sixers and Daryl Morey have communicated to Ace that they are pretty set on taking him at number 3, and so him and his camp feel the need to keep telling the Sixers, we don't want to go there. We don't want to be in Philadelphia, because if they had told the Sixers they don't want to go there and Philly was like, it's okay, we won't take you, then he wouldn't have to keep maintaining he doesn't want to be in Philadelphia. Do you see what I'm trying to say? It seems like he knows, and his camp knows, that the Sixers want to take him. They're trying to do whatever they can to make that not be the case. Look, we don't really know, obviously, what's going to happen when it comes to this 3rd overall pick and what's true and what's not true, what's smoke, what's real as we approach this NBA draft. But what we do know is that Ace Bailey is the biggest wild card in this draft. Does he go to the Sixers at 3? Is there a team like one of those 3 we mentioned that he wants to go to in the Jazz or the Pelicans and the Nets that want to trade up for Ace Bailey? And if they want him that badly, could there be a bidding war for Ace Bailey? And maybe we see the Sixers trade down. It's just so reliant right now on what happens with Ace Bailey that really determines what happens in 3 through 8 at this point in the NBA draft. And as I mentioned, it could result in a trade down. If Ace really doesn't want to go to the Sixers really don't want to take him, could one of these 3 teams he wants to go to look to trade up? So we're going to discuss some draft trade possibilities because we got some more intel as well from ESPN about a potential trade down for Philadelphia, including a trade that doesn't involve the number 3 pick, but instead involves Paul George, a surprising move that we have not heard yet being linked to the Sixers. But before we get to these draft trade possibilities, another reminder that draft hats are available, the official hats that the prospects will be wearing when they are drafted. Whoever Philadelphia selects with number 3 will come up on stage and will rock this 76ers draft hat. You can get it right now through our friends at fanatics.chatsports.com/76draft hat. A few different styles, different colors, the bucket hat option as well. I think they did a good design on the draft hats this year. So if you want your own, again, you go to chatsports.com/76draft hat. I'll be sure to put that in the comments and the description of today's show. So let's get back to some of these trade rumors. We've discussed the possibility of a trade up for Philadelphia. It seems trading up to number 2 is not going to happen. Jonathan Givony, ESPN, with this intel. Dylan Harper is all but assured to hear his name called with the number 2 pick, with rival teams saying the Spurs have shown zero interest in engaging in trade conversations. I think we can officially say the Dylan Harper dream is dead. We had heard reports in the past couple of weeks that the Sixers are making offers to the Spurs. They were offering multiple future first-round picks on top of the 3rd overall pick to try to get up to number 2 and take Dylan Harper. Clearly, they view him a whole tier above everybody else not named Cooper Flagg in this draft, and I would have to agree. But unfortunately, the Spurs making the smart move. I never really understood why they would trade away the number 2 overall pick, even though they have De'Aaron Fox, they have Stephon Castle. You want to get the best overall talent, and that really is Dylan Harper at number 2. So I don't believe that trading up really in the cards for Philadelphia. But what about trading down? We've talked a lot more about trading down because I view it as a much more realistic possibility. And Sam Vecini of The Athletic reported today and continues to maintain that the trading down does remain a real possibility for Daryl Morey, and it makes sense when you consider what is going on with this Ace Bailey situation, right? But also, potentially, as Vicini brought up, there could be a team that wants to trade up for VJ Edgecombe if the Sixers maybe didn't love what they saw in his visit with Philadelphia. Now, ESPN's Jonathan Givony, in his draft intel article today, brought up two potential trades that he could see happening on draft night. Now, this first one we've talked about at length here on the show, the idea of trading down with the Pelicans, sending them Kelly Oubre, probably Andre Drummond as well, but he just did Oubre in this specific idea. Getting back number 7 from New Orleans and Herb Jones. Again, discussed this a lot. I would love the idea of moving down and grabbing Herb Jones, who is an all-world defender, who also can shoot 40% from 3, and still having that number 7 overall pick to take a player like a Kanoupal, for example, at number 7. So this is a move that if the Sixers trade down, and if Ace Bailey really does want to go to New Orleans, and New Orleans really does want Ace Bailey, a move I could 100% see happening. Again, if Philly's not sold on Ace, or they're not sold on VJ Edgecombe either. Now, this second trade idea, I have not seen this thrown out there yet, but Jonathan Givony had some reasoning for it. This is a move where the Nuggets decide to part ways with Michael Porter Jr. and then the contracts of Zeke Naji and former Sixer Dario Saric, and they bring in Paul George. Now, I don't believe Paul George is going to be traded this offseason. Everything we've heard is that the Sixers want to run things back with this current core and just adding some more talent, but certainly an interesting shakeup here, bringing in a couple players, Naji and Saric, really just salary fillers, something they would really do much in the rotation, but certainly Michael Porter Jr., an interesting option who is cheaper than Paul George. And here was Givony's reasoning and his intel on Denver maybe being interested in Paul George. Denver has long been rumored to hold interest in PG. If the Nuggets' new front office, remember, they made a bunch of changes this offseason, decides it needs to gamble with a high-risk, high-reward move to compete with the Oklahoma City Thunder in the West, shifting from Michael Porter Jr. to Paul George could be the right call. Now, again, for the Sixers in this instance, as I mentioned, Michael Porter Jr. is cheaper and his contract is 1 year shorter than Paul George. And, in all honesty, he might be a better player than Paul George right now. Look, if Paul George is fully healthy, I think he's still probably the better player. Porter Jr. doesn't have nearly the on-ball skills that a Paul George has. But when we talk about MPJ, someone who can play out on that wing, he can rebound, he can shoot, and he'll do those things at a very, very high level. Ace Bailey has actually gotten a lot of Michael Porter Jr. comps. But again, I don't think Paul George will be traded, but if Philly does want to shake things up without trading that number 3 overall pick, and Denver really does have that interest in PG, like Givony said, certainly a move to at least keep in the back of our minds as we enter draft night. But look, whether we're talking about taking VJ Edgecombe at number 3, maybe taking Ace Bailey at number 3, could they trade down? What are they going to do? There's so many possibilities for the 76ers right now. The draft really does start at number 3. We just don't know a whole lot in terms of the direction they're going to go. And the only thing we know right now is that we really know nothing in terms of what Daryl Morey's strategy is. He's done a great job of keeping it in-house, not letting anything leak in terms of what their actual plan is and what they are going to do, which is a great job by him because you don't want other teams to know the direction you are leaning. That's why it's going to be so exciting to see where this team decides to go because, again, they have so many different directions. My prediction right now, as of 11:59 a.m. on Tuesday, June 24th. This could change before the draft does start. But my prediction is that VJ Edgecombe will be the pick at number 3. They will not take Ace Bailey. They will not trade out. I think they'll be enamored enough by what VJ Edgecombe has shown on the floor. Outside of that pre-draft workout, I think with his athleticism, his defensive tools, and then, of course, him being able to be in the building and putting on a good interview with the 76ers matters as well. I will have my final mock draft, though, coming out tomorrow morning before the draft, so be sure to subscribe and check that out for my final prediction and final thoughts on what the Sixers will do with number 3. But it is your turn here on the show, hearing all these latest reports, all this intel from these draft experts. We're hearing a lot. With that all in mind, what do you think the Sixers are going to do at number 3? Who will they take 3rd overall? Will it be VJ Edgecombe?
Will it be Ace Bailey? Maybe a Trey Johnson? Will they trade down? Whatever they do, let me know what you think the Sixers will do at number 3. And one final reminder to join us live. There will be no better place to get your completely free Sixers coverage of the NBA draft. Again, it'll be live an hour before, and we'll go in depth on every selection made in the NBA draft, including who the Sixers take at number 3. So be sure to subscribe, turn on those notifications, and we'll catch you tomorrow for the NBA draft.